welcome to Ultra Q, the show where we are watching the Ultra series in order. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Hello.
And Razan.
Hello, I just got back from the Dragon Palace. Had a good time.
Oh, yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Was she mean?
A little bit, but
Okay.
you know.
Alright. This week we're covering another 3 episodes of Ultra Q. That is episode 4, 5, and 6. And, what a trio.
Oh boy. This is,
Oh my god. I was not prepared for 6.
I wasn't prepared for 6.
I was not either.
In the meantime, we got to get a little warmed up. What have we been up to this week? Anything for show and tell?
Yeah, so I am once again going to put off talking about Oshinoko, which is the manga I've been slowly picking at, because I just haven't made much progress on it. And I want to get at least like halfway to being caught up before I really give my thoughts on it. But I did something else that I've been procrastinating on, which was finishing 86. Well, okay, part 1 of 86. That's a television show.
Is that complimentary or derogatory?
It's all right. There's some moments that I think are really well directed in that show. I think there's some character beats even that are really good. Here's the problem, is that if I had to talk to a mecha fan about 86, I would describe it as Iron-Blooded Orphans without the sauce. And they're not even that similar of shows, honestly. But, like, I just kind of feel like in a world where Iron-Blooded Orphans exists, like, I don't know what 86 is doing. There's, like, a huge fantasy racism thing going on with that show that I do not think gets the time or the care that it really needs to work. Like, there's really good moments in there. I talked about this on Twitter, but there's really good moments of like one of our 2 leading characters just completely having her worldview like broken down, and this like people telling her in her life like, hey, your neoliberal idealism is not going to reverse this genocide that you are like actively in the middle of, and also 2 characters telling her over and over again, like, just because you say you want to do the right thing, there is a gap between wanting to do the right thing and actually doing the right thing and caring about people and like working towards a better future. And a lot of that stuff really great landed for me. But then you also get stuff like one of the side characters revealing that she comes from a long line of Nazi scientists who like did a bunch of horrific human experimentation and killed children, but she gets to tag along with the rest of the team because she's sufficiently sorry about it. And it's just like, what are we doing here?
She feels real bad.
She feels really bad. Also, everyone. Okay, so this is another thing that really irks me, but like, one of the 2 main characters is one of the 86, which is people from this 86th district of this like fascist republic that are fighting against this legion of autonomous drones, and they've been basically categorized as subhuman, forcefully conscripted into this army where they fight in sheet metal spider mechs, and are forced to fight this war while everyone else in the 85 districts, who are all very light-skinned with like white hair, white eyes, all get to like live in harmony, just ignorant to the violence that they are like right outside of their wall, sort of thing. And everything involving like both the main character from the Republic, Lena, and her weird Nazi scientist friend, like everything involving their tragic backstories ties back into the main character of the 86 side of things in a way that I felt just made the world really small.
It's really funny how involved he is.
Yes, like everything comes back to his family in a really weird way that just I think this writer excels at interpersonal relationships and maybe should have crafted a story that maybe focused on that rather than swinging for the fences in ways that I don't quite think the story ever really makes good on. That being said, I was pretty down on it at the start. It kind of warmed up to me as it went on. I can't wait to watch the second half of it.
Yeah, the second half. Well, I haven't actually watched most of the second half, but the first 2 episodes that I saw, interesting. The bit that I actually like about 86, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's an incredibly clever show, but I do like that. So far as I've got, all of the named, what is it, Alba? Is that what they call the white hair people?
Those are the white people.
Yeah, all of the named extremely white people are all sort of well, we don't want the genocide machine to exist, and all of them are directly turning the wheel on the genocide machine. And I was like, okay. I see it, but it's it's not exactly subtle or sensitive. It's extremely, it's just going as hard as it can. I don't know if it comes right in the end. I know that it's a light novel adaptation. I don't know where those novels go.
I kind of want to read because I feel like that's where you get a lot of world building shit that tends to get cut in adaptation. I kind of want to read them and just see what the fuck is going on there. But who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was interested in checking out 86 at some point, but also it seemed like one of those things where it's this is on the lower end of my priorities. I haven't even finished all of Autumn's yet, so
Honestly, it's kind of a crime I finished part 1 of 86 before I ever finished the original Bottoms. That is a badge of shame that I'm going to have to wear, but 12 episodes versus whatever Bottoms original run is.
You heard it here first. Finish Bottoms. People should finish Bottoms.
I really should.
You're not at the really good. Anyway, people should watch Bottoms. So I have watched. Well, I've watched a couple of things of note. What do you want first, movie or series?
Movie.
I watched Godzilla this morning.
Oh shit!
For the first time.
I realize it's criminal that I have literally never seen Godzilla. I realize this. I've come to apologize for my sins. I'm aware that specifically being involved with this podcast and not having watched Godzilla, especially a crime. But like I said, Toku Baby, I had literally just never watched it. It was really good.
Yeah.
It was. I already knew about the Lucky Dragon 5 thing already, and movie felt very pointed about the fishing, the ships sinking, and the irradiated fishing community and stuff, and then looking it up and finding this was made months afterwards, was wild. I thought it was really funny how much the movie is just about the universe conspiring against the soul of Dr. Serizawa.
Yeah. Serizawa's great.
It's so good.
That movie is such an you go into that movie for the big giant lizard, and what you get is this morality play of the saddest man to ever exist, and it's just a great time.
He's just no. There will always be very good reasons for me to release the weapon of mass destruction that I've made into the world, and they're not good reasons.
gives it the most badass name, the Oxygen Destroyer.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I will. That scene of the mother and daughter just being well, I guess we're gonna die now. Will stick with me forever. Holy shit! What a what a moment.
It's a hell of a movie. It hits hard.
I haven't seen it in 2 years. I gotta rewatch it again at some point.
It's a good movie. The other thing that I watched, much more lighthearted, I finally finished Splash Star Precure, which is the third series of Precure.
Oh, hey, that's one of the few. I haven't
that
seen.
You haven't seen.
Yeah.
Splash Star Precure is a good time. I really liked it. It was in most ways it's kind of a more refined version of Futariwa Precure, but the issue is like the fights suck. They're not good most of the time. Yeah, they just look janky as hell. I think maybe one of the issues is that the designs are really over the top. It's maybe a lot to animate. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen them. They're extremely like what's that Tumblr post? The how do I look, darling? Bad.
Oh yeah.
This is this the episode where he lost his house? They look like that. And which, you know, is a show. They ramp it up towards the end of the series, and then like the final fight of the show is really good. But it's not great most of the time. But like, you know, the other thing it lacks is there's no Nagisa, who's one of the girls from original Precure. But one of, you know, because all the characters got all their designs are the same as original Precure, because I don't know, I figured they thought they were just going to keep doing this, was just going to keep using like the same, like almost as though they had actors. They kept using the same character designs. They gave up after this one. They did not do this again.
They extremely didn't do this again.
Yeah, the main girls just look like the previous main girls, which means that, you know, Nagisa, not in the show, would not normally be an issue. But Saki just looks like Nagisa. And I'm like, you're not Nagisa. You're cashing in on some credibility that isn't yours. You're not getting... No. But, you know, Saki and Mai are fine. But the real stars of the show are Michiru and Kaoru. And if anyone's going to watch Splash Star Precure, watch it for Michiru and Kaoru. They're amazing. They're two of the villains in the show. They're just great. They're fun. I like them. I like them a lot. I would say Splash Star is a good show. I think the next one I've got is, what is it, Precure 5?
Yes, yes, 5 is the next one.
Yes.
Which is, I started a bit of 2 years ago and did not finish. But I'll get back to it.
It extremely... This might be mean to Yes 5. Yes 5 might be much better than this suggests, but you know, I look at it and it feels like, oh, they gave up. They just decided to do Sailor Moon. They were just like, you know.
So here's the thing. We got Futari War Precure, smash hit. Then make a sequel. Not a good idea. Not an idea. Just do 50 episodes of the same thing again. So they do Splash Star, which is like, this is a new show, except is extremely like the old show. And that didn't do as well. So like, well, we gotta do something different. I guess we're doing the Sentai thing now. And so they did.
Yep.
I will say that the 17 or so episodes of Yes I liked so I watched were really good. So, you know.
Well, fingers crossed.
I will say I've kept myself in the dark with Splash Star mostly, but I'm like, oh yeah, Michiru and Kaoru are like the reasons I want to see this. I want to know what their deal is.
Their deal is cool. The goal is for me to eventually get to Heartcatch, and then
yes.
Because, you know, I've heard that show is really good.
It is.
That's all I've been doing this week. Well, I've been doing more, but those are the things of note.
I will note, your Godzilla rewatch reminded me, I rewatched Rodan, which I mentioned last time is my favorite kaiju movie. Still my favorite kaiju movie. Go watch Rodan. It's a good time.
I mean, I guess I could watch Rodan between now and next week.
I think that would be good.
I will watch Rodan.
Tune in next week when we start our Godzilla podcast.
Oh, Christ.
Anyway, I haven't been up to much. I didn't finish anything. I think I started a few things, but I won't talk about those for now. But I caught up on the current Kamen Rider and the current Sentai, and they are both good. Sentai is nearing its conclusion, so we'll see where the DonBrothers end up. That's some wild shit happening. And then Geats on the Kamen Rider side's pretty good so far. We'll see where it goes. We're like closing the halfway point, so different pacing, but
Nice. Every week, a whole cadre of people log on to Twitter to post that DonBrothers was really good this week.
And based on my experience catching up, I think they're correct.
Nice. All right then. Well, if that's everything else covered, I think we can get into Ultra Q, because we have some wild episodes of Ultra Q to talk about. So, let me start at episode 4, Mammoth Flower. I got a summary here if we'd like. Jun and Ippei stop by an office to pick up some flyers for an odd job and find the place a shambles. The staff claim there's been an earthquake, but that's absurd. An earthquake localized in one building. Yuriko is on the scene to investigate, but all 3 heroes ditch their responsibilities when they hear there's something strange in the moat. I assume that's the moat around the palace in Tokyo. I don't think there's a second moat. It could be.
I assumed that as well.
Yeah. Anyway, in the moat, they see a strange-looking plant root. It's like slithering. The gang pesters Dr. Ichinotani, who's the doctor from the space episode last week. They pester him about the root, and he speculates that given the root burrowed through the wall of the moat, we may see more appear elsewhere in the vicinity. Meanwhile, more roots appear elsewhere in the vicinity. They attack some very distressed men, and it's up to Jun and Ippei to save them. A piece of root is retrieved, and it's discovered that they drink human blood like some kind of Dracula plant. At the airfield, Ippei suggests to Jun that the root's bulb might be beneath the same building that experienced like a completely localized earthquake. The two head straight over there and find the office staff in a rush to evacuate, fearing the whole building could come down any second. Jun and Ippei lend a hand, but when the plant strikes, Ippei is caught inside, helping a woman named Michiru. The decision is made to burn the roots, but a scientist, Dr. Genda, insists they leave the flower alone so that it may be studied. The huge flower grows straight through the roof of the building and blooms, spreading poisonous pollen. Dr. Genda changes his mind. Ippei and Michiru are saved by soldiers, and Jun agrees to help launch the secret weapon which will defeat Juran, the mammoth flower. Soldiers armed, well, we never actually hear it's called Juran. The only one where we hear what the monster is called this week is the second one. Soldiers armed with flamethrowers attack the roots, and Jun flies his Cessna over the blooming flower as Dr. Genda throws kaiju-grade weed killer bombs out of the window. The subs were a little wonky on what this was, so I didn't quite get it. But Juran wilts and dies, and the narrator briefly forgets that the show's title got changed to Ultra Q as he starts going off about the unbalanced zone.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, no, you forgot.
I'm happy, Mel, that you covered the production history stuff, because I put it at the screen. I was like, that's the thing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It says everything's unbalanced in this very one episode.
So what is the thing that they use at the end to kill the plant?
Anti-killing plant juice. I do not know.
I don't know. They just got some stuff, and it's like, yeah, this will do it.
They just happen to have some, play. You know that shit. Have you ever played Resident Evil 1? You need to kill I was thinking of Resident Evil 1 a lot, actually, watching this episode. Especially the scenes.
You have to kill the plant, yeah.
the scenes with the soldiers going through the hallways and stuff. I'm like, this is just the exact same vibe. Yeah, you get the special whatever chemical, and you put in the water supply. Kills the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Kill the vampire plant Dracula.
The vampire plant Dracula.
We've seen this flower before, too. It should be noted.
Wait. Yes. Was it in Shin Ultraman?
Yes, in Shin Ultraman. This is one of the... this and the monster we talk about next time, I noticed, were these were both in the little highlight reel in the beginning of shit humanity had to deal with before Ultraman showed up.
And any day now, Ultraman gonna show up and beat up a giant plant.
We still got a few months until then.
Well, this is true. So first of all, another way to fight giant plants, 18-round revolvers.
Yes.
They sure are. Another way, breaking a glass bottle and just stabbing it a bunch.
That was metal as fuck.
Yes.
Like, Jun just gets down to stab this plant.
This week we learn Jun has mentally put pilot into like secondary job. Yes. He's like, well, my primary job is like, I'm a kaiju guy now. I'm in this shit. I'm going in.
We also learn that Yuriko has a moment where she says something like, "Oh, because you're so committed to writing your science fiction stories," and I was like, "This was never discussed before." But she's like, "You need to get your head pulled back down to earth or whatever," and I'm like, in a universe where giant poison plant flowers are coming up out of buildings, I think this is a pro, not a con for him.
I mean, did they forget the alien last week? Stop with that sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
So he's permanently writing chapter 1 of his sci-fi novel. The flower itself is cool. The roots are like kind of fun, but like once the flower like comes out through the roof and blooms, it's like very eerie.
Yeah.
Very Drakengard.
I think it's interesting how like a whole portion of like this episode is there's like a couple of scenes where it's just like 2 or 3 minutes where people are just watching and there's like no dialogue. They're just like watching a thing happening.
Yeah. It's cool. The bit where Dr. Gender, like, they all watch like the flower bloom as Dr. Gender's like, no, we can't just burn the plant. We have to test it for science. And then he like looks up for like 5 seconds and he's like, okay, you know what? All right, fair play. We do have to burn this motherfucker to the ground.
When the poison pollen stuff started happening, so like, it should be there is a casualty of I think technically only 2 people, because I don't know. Well, do the vines actually end up killing anyone?
Okay,
I don't know if we.
There's 3 people because like one there's the before like the cold open you have like the guard who like gets hit by the rubble of the plant.
That's right. And then you have the soldiers going, and 2 of them get hit by the poison pollen. And my brain was going, oh no, there's a huge crowd of people outside pointing up at the sky and looking at the giant flower. That poison pollen is going to be a problem. And that doesn't really end up being a factor, which I was kind of surprised by. The lingering, looming threat is still there. But this series of episodes, for me, my takeaway is it made me wrestle with the fact that this show was made in the 60s in a way, because I feel like the modern disaster movie thing to do would be that whole crowd just gets wiped by poison shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes a giant flower erupting out of the ground and like wrapping people up in vines and just a couple guys dying in a building, like that is honestly very scary. Like enough to really sell what this is going for. And it was just kind of funny, like weighing against my modern expectations versus what kind of counted as like a big disaster set piece 60 years ago. Was really fun for me.
I got like a couple things on my mind. One, extremely amused how the episode title is called Mammoth Flower. And you hear the Japanese actor say Mammoth Flower. But for some reason, the subs still insist on saying giant flower.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
I was shocked by that too.
The subs on this episode, little weird. Not the best, I don't think.
My other thing was just what was the mustache professor's name again? The guy we love.
Ichino Tani?
Yeah, Ichino Tani. Like how he's like, well, in the past, dinosaurs and mammoths were big, and this flower is big. Therefore, it must be a prehistoric flower. This is my logic. Just like, what are you professor of again?
I didn't expect him to come back after last week. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm happy that he's
Same.
around.
No, he just won the guys.
Yeah.
Unlike Nita, I guess. Fuck
No.
Yeah, Nita, not a big deal. This guy, yeah, we keep this guy.
Just extremely amused by everyone being just sliding into the roles of mystery machine for kaiju.
Yes.
I also think it was kind of fun that Jun's piloting skills actually ended up mattering in terms of like dealing with the threat. Like, I think that's the first time. I mean, aside from getting knocked out and then dragged by a bank robber into his plane, I feel like this is the first time that the piloting really played a part in the episode in a way that I appreciated.
Yeah. He's Jun's our action hero. He's he's more involved than the rest of the crew this week. The fact that the root's kind of like the fact that it drinks blood, the fact that Ippei got laughed at for calling it a Dracula plant was very funny. I was like, so it does drink blood. It does do that. You like he is right. It is a Dracula plant.
I feel like this week's theme is, and we'll get into that next episode for sure, as weird shit happens, but people are extremely resistant to the idea of things being weird, despite the past history of things just being weird.
Next week, as episode 5 of the Kaiju show, is extremely funny.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
But yeah, I like this episode, but it did take it did take some thinking about to try to grapple with some of the I felt like the translation was a little rough, but I do like to know that Jun's sci-fi novel coming out any day now.
Yes. This felt to me like this is just like a basic solid episode. I think of all of the 6 we've watched, this might be the one that like left the least amount, like just was the least impressive or left the least amount of like an imprint on me personally. Just because it's like, hey, there's a big flower, it's a problem, which just, you know, isn't a standout as like giant monster or whatever. But this was a good time. But I do agree, the translation was a little wonky. It just felt a little off.
I think sometimes you do just need a plant kaiju.
Yeah.
I do like that we got a plant.
If all your kaiju are the same, then your show will end up unbalanced.
I do also kind of, I guess one last note, I do like that this time around really wasn't an inciting incident. It's just, well, you built shit over something that you didn't know was there, but it's a problem. Like, it just kind of happens.
No one did anything.
The narrative's just like, yo, we encroach on nature and this is happens. Check yourself.
Yeah.
Cool. Unless we have anything more about episode 4, we can get into episode 5, which I briefly, for one foolish moment, thought, well, this is definitely the weirdest one this week.
I had the same thought, Red, don't worry.
Right, well, let's move on to it.
Episode 5 is called Pegula is Here. Jun is on a journey to a Japanese Antarctic research station to investigate the strange disappearance of Dr. Nomura, who went out in the middle of the night with his dog and never returned. Something strange flies overhead, disturbing the ship and sending Jun sprawling into a medical scientist named Yoko. She patches up Jun, and we learn that she's taking soil from Tokyo to the Antarctic, but her reasons are a mystery. At the base, all sorts of weird shit's going on, starting with the temperature, which drops to minus 101 degrees Celsius. For any Fahrenheit users out there, that's not cold, that's death.
Thank you.
That is colder than the coldest recorded temperature, for while mankind has been around.
You said the C word and I started shaking and crying.
Yeah. We got to take care of the Fahrenheit people. They don't understand. A man named Ito goes out in a snowmobile and floats away in a blizzard like paper. They repeat this. It's definitely like paper. Yoko starts acting very strangely at the mention of Nomura's disappearance 3 years ago. Jun wants answers and plans to follow in Nomura's footsteps. In the middle of the night, Jun sneaks to a snowmobile, but before he can leave, he sees Yoko preparing to exit the station. She opens the door, and a rush of wind blows snow inside. The parked snowmobile starts to float, and we see Pegula, a giant winged monster. The snowmobile stops floating, but in through the door comes Ito, half frozen. Now safe, Ito tells the station crew about a giant monster, but they don't quite believe him. They leave him in Yoko's care, but he attacks her, rambling about Nomura. Jun steps in and grapples with Ito. They get him back in bed, and Yoko steps outside. Then she steps into a car. Then she steps on the gas, heading out into dangerous terrain. Jun tracks her down and finds her unconscious. By her side is Nomura's dog, Sabu, who is alive and well. Under a patch of ice is Nomura, who is neither alive nor well. Pegula attacks, shooting anti-gravity ice breath that sends everyone flying. Somehow they land and are rescued, and Yoko wonders how the hell the dog is alive after 3 years. Apparently, it's been eating special anti-Pegula moss. Of course.
Yep.
It's so convenient.
Yeah, now armed with anti-Pegula moss, the station crew load it into a weather rocket and wait for Pegula to attack. Pegula attacks and obliterates most of the station, but once in range, Jun hits the button to launch the rocket, hitting the monster directly in the face.
Hold on, you're skipping a step here.
What's the step that I've skipped?
The initial guy who's in charge of pressing the button is getting real ornery about it, so they have to literally punch him in the face. So
they
that,
do.
Yeah.
And knock him out, so that you can press the button.
This is a very important part of the episode.
This is a very important part of the episode. Is Jun wants to wait until he sees the whites of the eyes, and no sooner. Pegula, once Pegula has been hit in the face with a rocket stuffed full of anti-Pegula moss, Pegula leaves, I think.
Yeah.
The crew are victorious. Yoko leaves the Tokyo soil on a grave for Nomura, who was her fiancé, and Jun boards the ship to return to Tokyo. The narrator gives us some handy advice. If you are ever attacked by a kaiju, simply find its weakness. They all have one.
Yeah.
Narrative's very spiritual successor in episode 3, just being like, what if salt water is bad this time? just hit its weakness. It's that easy.
Like, I forgot to write it down, but literally he says, like, there are a lot of fearsome animals. What you gotta do is you gotta find the one thing it really doesn't like and use that against it. And I was like, thanks. I'm gonna remember that if I'm out hiking in the woods and a bear attacks me.
It's so funny.
It's really good.
This episode is, for me, another episode, once again, another episode 3 in terms of, this is barely held together with string, but I do love it.
Same. I had a great time with this one.
It is wild.
My absolute favorite, I mean, I like how much of the episode is just like, Pegula is barely involved, and it's just like weird things going on at the station, and is there some kind of psychic thing happening with Pegula and the people at this? Because there's the moment where we see Pegula for the first time. Really, is it feels like Yoko is getting visions of it. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to set up something like weird spiritual connection thing, and then they just don't do anything with it. The moss, though.
The moss is very important. Why does it live near the moss it hates? What?
You know, sometimes you got to keep it in check so no one else can use it to shoot a rocket full of it at you.
Oh yeah, this is true. Keep your friends close. Keep your anti-moss closer.
I want a vet to check out that dog and see what the effects of a moss-based diet does to a dog for 3 years.
That poor dog.
I remember, like Yoko says in the episode, "Oh, I tried feeding this moss to a seal and it died." Anyway,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What's going on with this moss?
She kills a seal with that moss and is like, yeah, dog's fine.
dog's fine. We can kill Pegula.
Dog's fine. Fiance very dead. Dog's fine. The bit where completely sincerely, I love the bit where Ito creeps up on her and just like the cut back to his face like right next to hers.
Oh yeah, that was good.
It's very good.
It's very good. There's just like good atmosphere in this episode.
I think the Nomura's body being found and just like falling over, and the reaction was also very well done too. Just like this impending sense of dread. It's very good.
Yeah. Oh, do you mean Ito?
Shit,
The
yeah.
guy coming back.
Sorry, sorry. I'm getting my dead bodies confused.
Yeah. Yes, it is good. It took me a second once we were introduced to this episode. I was like, okay, so where's the gang? I was like, no gang.
Yeah, it was hard.
Just Jun.
It was hard to tell Jun was there at first because he's like wearing this black outfit with shades, and it's like, is this guy a robber? It's like, no, it's just Jun. You just take a picture.
Yeah,
He's robber coded.
that newspaper has a shit ton of money to be sending out their pilot
to be fair, I don't even know if Jun works in the newspaper. He's just. I guess he's there to figure out Nomura. He got that notebook, I guess, from the guy. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know why else he'd be there.
This is what he was there to. He was there because Ichino Tani had told him that this doctor had vanished under weird circumstances. This is what I'm saying. He's all in. He's like, okay, piloting is now my second job. My real job is I am a main character in a kaiju show. I'm gonna go get involved in some weird mysteries. A doctor vanished under weird circumstances in the Antarctic. I'm there.
Very funny that there's this one guy who's a skeptic who's like, kaiju, that's not realistic, as if there hasn't been 4 kaiju existing previously.
He's been in the South Pole for too long. He's gonna get back to
I had that thought,
and he's gonna read the news.
I had another thought about the 60s, huh? Antarctica probably was a lot more mysterious and more of a, I guess I don't know if I want to say less explored because I don't even think that's true, but just as a setting, I feel like Antarctica or the South Pole was a lot more evocative back in the day before, extensive satellite imaging and, information being as widespread as we do now. It's like, oh, what the hell's going on at the South Pole? Giant monsters, I guess. I'm like, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that is true. I hadn't quite considered that, but that is true that, living in a world where you can make an anime about 4 schoolgirls going to the South Pole is a little different to the 60s. Pegula is extremely goofy looking.
Is it supposed to be a walrus?
I don't know.
I can't believe they got the walrus from Pingu.
Man, it's a wild career that walrus has had. It's, so it has an anti-gravity ice breath.
What the fuck?
It has anti-gravity ice breath.
Yeah.
I don't.
I see very clearly how you get from Ultra Q to Ultraman when your kaiju already have superpowers.
This is true. Pegula's eyes especially were very piercing. It was the real creepy looking one. But yeah, I don't have much about this episode beyond it was it was real dumb. I had a great time.
Same. It was very endearing. I like the little burial scene at the end with like putting the soil from Tokyo and stuff on the grave and all that right before they leave. I was like, oh, that's kind of a nice moment.
Yeah.
But this was real. This was real fun. Like stupid turn your brain off television. And I greatly appreciated it.
Yeah, I feel like for like half the episode, I was thinking Yoko had some weird like connection with Pegula, but actually no, she's this is Nomura. But yeah,
I was also kind of like, there's something strange going on. No, not that strange. Just a little bit strange. Nothing. It was the bit at the end where they have to punch that guy out because he wants to hit the button.
It's so funny.
It's very funny.
They're like tackling him to the ground. Like, no.
Just all these trained scientists, and this is one like pilot guy just comes in like is like, no, I'm in charge here.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone is very calm for minus 101 degrees. Everyone is like, damn, that's weird. I guess I'll go out in a snowmobile. No, you won't. What are you talking about? You'll die. What's going on here? Yeah, I was a big fan of this episode.
I thought this would be my favorite of the bunch this week, and then
well.
Well, unless we have anything more to say about episode 5, let me tell you a quick story. There is a Japanese story about a man named Urashima Taro who rescues a turtle and as a reward is taken underwater to Dragon Palace to be entertained by a princess. After what he thinks is only a few days, he returns to his home with a jeweled box to find that he has been gone for over 100 years. And when he opens the box, he is transformed into an old man. Anyway, episode 6 of Ultra Q is called Grow Up Little Turtle. At school, a boy named Taro feeds his turtle. He hopes that one day the turtle will grow to be 99 centimeters in length and take him to Dragon Palace. Taro is caught by his teacher, who confiscates the turtle and sends Taro to the roof. From there, Taro witnesses a bank robbery. More bank robberies in this show. I hope we get one every week. But unfortunately, Taro is the boy who cried wolf, and no one believes his story. He retrieves his turtle and plays with him after classes at school. The turtle briefly escapes Taro, probably due to its incredible speed, and he finds it attached to the bank robbers who are laying low in the empty school. The thieves flee, and Taro chases them into the back of a truck, demanding they return his turtle. In the truck, Taro plays with one of the robbers' guns, terrifying them. In a struggle over the gun, they riddle the truck with bullets, and the robbers flee once again. Taro is still in pursuit, first to return the machine gun, and then to retrieve his turtle.
Keep in mind, they're also being trained by like cops at this point, and they're running through an amusement park.
They are extremely getting like Benny Hill chased around this amusement park. It's ridiculous. In like sped up footage. The thieves and Taro hole up somewhere quiet, and after a nap and some extremely ambitious dreams, Taro finds that his turtle has grown to 99 centimeters. The thieves run away and call the cops, and Taro flies away on the back of his turtle, which now has indicators and a speedometer.
Yes! This I want to ride on this thing!
I was losing my mind.
Just open up the shell, it's right there.
Oh my god. Together, Taro and his turtle dive into the sea and arrive in a strange empty space occupied only by a girl on a swing. The girl explains that this is Dragon Palace, and she is Otohime, the princess. She toys with Taro for her own amusement until he threatens her with a bottle of... Is it turtle food in his pocket? It's a bottle.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a turtle food.
It was. I think it was whatever he had at school that he was feeding the turtle.
Yeah, whatever it is, he says it's an atomic bomb. He throws it on the ground, and it legitimately explodes. On the back of his turtle, Taro chases Otohime, who is now riding like an ICBM, which transforms into a lightning-spitting dragon. Taro is tormented until he promises to stop telling so many lies, and then he is returned to school with a box. Taro's parents and teachers gather around him, grateful that he has returned and curious where he went. Taro first promises that he will stop telling lies, and then proceeds to explain that he was at Dragon Palace playing with Otohime, and no one takes him seriously. He opens the box, briefly transforming into an old man while no one is looking. Returned to normal, Taro is now the only kid in his class who isn't taking care of a turtle.
And then they beat the shit out of him, I guess? Like,
also, Otohime just like laughs at the end for some reason.
I was in shock this whole episode. I could not believe
this episode goes places.
David Lynch showed up.
Where do you begin with this episode?
We begin with, first of all, I love the bank robbers so much. They're amazing. They don't have names. They barely have characters. But they spend most of their screen time being terrified and running away from Taro, as like he demands his turtle back or waves a gun at them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's just like gang Oji-san. Just
I love as soon as they see that shit's going down with the turtle, they're like, okay, we need to tell the cops about this.
And then that scene proceeds to be like this turtle walks through walls and then they fly away, and it's like, well, okay. And then they get there, it's like, where's the kid and turtle? And they're like,
I also love that they grab Taro. So like Taro chases them to their truck, and then like Taro kind of gives up because he's like, oh man, it seems like they got away, but he's like right behind their truck, and then they just grab him, and it's like, what did you think that this would make the situation better to grab the screaming child instead of just driving off? What are you doing?
They kidnap him, and Stockholm Syndrome sets in so quickly that he's like, oh, can I play with your gun? And the guy's like, yeah, sure.
Can I okay. This was a weird as fuck episode as an American. Let me just say so.
Okay.
First of all, hey teacher, there's people shooting outside of the school, and it's just like, kid, don't worry about it. It's like, oh my god.
Oh, right.
So
I like Taro's expression every time we hear the gunshots. He's just,
yes. So I need you to all know, like, when I was like 12, there was a guy doing maintenance on a roof who like forgot to call beforehand, and like we all had to hide in like the corners and turn off the lights and like, you know, window blinds all down, like just a completely different vibe. Second of all, I don't talk about this a lot because it's kind of a privacy thing. When I was 10, I got shot by a neighborhood kid. Yeah, due to like literally just like child playing with gun shit. So when this kid just starts like playing around with this fucking Tommy gun in the back of his truck and like looking down the barrel, and the dudes are just like freaking out, like I was like, oh my god. Just wild. Firearms.
he is not handling that thing safely.
No, but just out like, holy shit, I was just my mind. But yes, I do enjoy how just like he goes from give me back my turtle to oh no, I'm being kidnapped to oh, I've never seen a real gun before, can I play with it? Is just wild.
Perfect. Mel and I referenced it in episode 5, but bank robbery has a uniform.
Yeah.
This is what you look like if you're robbing a bank.
Yeah, you gotta
you wear the sunglasses.
You're doing a job. You look professional.
In my head, these guys were friends with the people who stole the slug eggs. Like they're just all getting beers on the weekend.
Yeah, not those beers, not the beers in the back of the truck.
No,
those got ruined.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also worth noting that the gang does show up for like 3 minutes in this episode.
Yes,
They're
very
like,
briefly.
oh, there's a bank robbery. Yes, we better go interview the people at school, and then they do, and then they're done, I guess.
They didn't need to be in this episode. Presumably, it's just like in their contract is going to be, well, you know.
Yeah, I kind of wish they weren't there because they felt so shoehorned into a story that did not need them.
Yeah, it did feel a little like it's like, oh, now we're getting into the no, we're not. Don't.
They're not. They're even involved.
They're
not even in the second half of the episode. They're just, you know.
Yeah, they get like one scene. So once Taro is flying his turtle around, and like passing through buildings like a ghost, and flies under the sea, he arrives in Dragon Palace, which is just like empty, misty floor place with just like one little girl who's just like trying to teach him a lesson about how he shouldn't lie in increasingly cruel ways.
Yes.
I will say, we are just told this guy lies all the time. This entire episode, he seems like he's extremely telling the truth to me the whole time. So I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, he's like, you know, I'm telling you the truth. I went to Dragon Palace.
It seems like it's weird because he has obviously the kid has like an overactive imagination. He's a kid. That's just what kids do. But yeah, like I almost wish in my ideal version of this episode, we cut the stuff with the main crew and we maybe get a scene of him being a little shit at home, or like, you know, being mean to a classmate, or like telling a lie that causes a problem. But yeah, I also agree where they keep going on about the lying thing, and I'm like, well, he did go to Dragon. He is objectively true now because like he did go to Dragon Palace. This happened.
And like on the one hand, you know, we could say, well, you know, Dragon Palace is all in his head. It's like, no, it's not. This is ultra cute. This is a kaiju thing. That's a real turtle that he's flying around on. Definitely. He's like This is a very funny episode.
Yeah.
I was just losing my mind with his interactions with the thieves, and it just kept going.
It just kept going. When he runs after them, it's like your machine gun, and then the guy stops. Like, oh, thanks, and then keeps running, and then he's like, job done. No, wait, my turtle.
There is some honest to God Lynch brand surrealism, like even kind of like before the stuff happens with like the Dragon Palace and kind of like the weird mist fantasy zone that we get into. Like it feels a little Twin Peaksy with just how wacky everything gets. It's a good time.
I can't believe Taro went to the Red Room.
Tara went to the Red Room. The when she's riding the missile,
Yeah,
like it was Doctor Strangelove, and like it turning into the dragon. I was like, are we reaching for something here in the last like 2 minutes of this show?
What does this mean?
This episode. But no, it was just extremely just like lots of fantastical stuff happening in Dragon Palace. When Taro thinks he's like drowning, and then you know. Otohime just like snaps her fingers and he's fine. You're just on the floor. You're fine. Gonna be honest. I would give Dragon Palace a pretty bad score, pretty bad Google review. It wouldn't be great. I don't think the service is very good. I think the atmosphere is pretty off. Not a huge fan.
No, and everyone's just gonna make fun of you for telling stories when you get back.
You don't even get a good souvenir. What the fuck?
Yeah, your souvenir makes you old.
I like how Taro's like, look at this. Look, I went to the Dragon Palace. Look at this jewel box I got, and it's like, that's just a box. It's just an ugly box.
he just knows the story. So it's like, well, the box I got, it's jeweled. It's like, no, it's wood.
So I was him becoming a grand. So she gives him the box and says, I think she specifically says, if you're ever in trouble, open this.
Yes.
And then in his mind, getting in trouble is, oh, everyone thinks I'm just a lying, stupid kid, so he opens it, and then he becomes old as... Is it supposed to be a punishment for him misusing the box?
I mean, that's just the thing that happens in the original story.
So, it is?
I assume it's just like using... Yeah, so in the original... So, let me scroll. The story of Urashima Taro at the... So, is like a... Sort of like a... It's basically... You know... like fairy stuff where you know time works different.
Yes.
Taro goes visits Dragon Palace and thinks he's there for like a few days before he gets homesick, and when he returns with a jeweled box, which is, you know, he's told he's forbidden from opening, he finds that like over 100 years has passed, and then tempted by the box, he opens it and turns into an old man, like presumably he's had like all the years that he's missed added onto his life suddenly. The Taro in Ultra Q turning into an old man, I would say is just a punchline.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, she's even hear Orihime going like, "Oh, Taro's gonna turn into an old man," and then he does, and then he doesn't.
It's like he does hear like a voice in his head. It's like, "Oh, you're gonna turn into an old man," and then he does it, and it's surprised that he's turned into an old man. It's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, because like the way that it plays it is almost like a punishment sort of thing, and I was just kind of like, the through line. But yeah, I think that is just supposed to be kind of more of a punchline, like you're talking about.
I don't know what happens to. I assume his turtle just lives, just flies around having adventures. Everyone else has a turtle now.
Taro is stuck in the bizarre universe where everyone else has the turtle, and he's just like, I don't want to deal with turtles anymore. Fuck this shit.
And like, I can't emphasize enough, like they all just start to.
That's
what happens at the end. They just start beating the shit out of him, and then the episode ends, right? Like,
yeah, like there's just a fist fight in the end. I was like, what's going on here?
What the fuck?
Right. So first, right, the teacher confiscates his turtle, which is on a string, like a string tied around it. It confiscates it by hanging it up.
Yeah.
So I was like, "What are you doing?"
That's why I was mentioned earlier. It's crazy. He's like, "What are you doing?"
He just hangs it up.
He just hangs it by the blackboard.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I want to say, I think this might be my favorite episode of Tokusatsu I've ever seen in my life, and considering that it also... I had a moment where this reminded me of one of the most traumatic events of my childhood that left to, like, a decade of, like, mobility issues that, like, took a substantial amount of, like, you know... medical stuff I'm not going to get into to like recover from, and the fact that it managed to kind of delve me into those feelings but then also win me back around because of just how batshit it gets, and the fact that there's just a speedometer on this turtle, I think is a testament to its quality. I loved this so much, and I had a very good time.
When the turtle started turning left and I saw the light, I was like, oh my god, out loud.
There's also
like, they're doing it. They've got indicators on a turtle.
They keep playing this happy-go-lucky music too when he's flying around on the turtle, and it's so funny. This is a all-timer.
Yeah, that is episode 6 of Ultra Q. Grow up, little turtle. It grew up.
It grew up.
It did.
Do we have anything else about episode 6 of Ultra Q?
No, it made me realize I should probably get around to watching those Gamera movies, though.
I've seen a few of them, but not all of them.
I have heard they are good. That is it. I don't even know what Gamera looks like. I assume, from what you've just said,
he's a big
he looks
turtle.
like a turtle.
He's a turtle.
That's all I know. The only things I know is that he's a big turtle, and I think there's like a trilogy of movies somewhere in there that people like kaiju enthusiasts tend to say like this is like peak kaiju content sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I think that's the Heisei trilogy of Gamer movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, unless we have anything more about Ultra Q, I think that might be a podcast for this week.
Yeah.
If you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, you can find it at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. If you want to follow me, it's not, you don't know. It's at gender_redacted. Anyone else?
Yeah. I am at Dear Crowns. Whatever. But also, we got the email, ultraqpod@gmail.com. You can send stuff there. We'll answer them in some format to be determined. We haven't gone it yet, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Razin?
Yeah, I'm at Rosenbrand on Twitter.com. And then also I have a YouTube channel just called Rosenbrand. I am getting terrifyingly close to catching up with my Elden Ring footage to the point where I don't have any episodes to put out. So honestly, probably after I get off this call, probably going to record more Elden Ring. I need a buffer again. So look forward to more of that, as always.
Nice. Well, on that note, I think we're going to say bye-bye for now. We're next week watching 3 more episodes of Ultra Q, episodes 7, 8, and 9. See you then.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.